All right, so I'll tell you about one time I was abused. I was manic, and my doctor, Dr. Gray, was like, you know, be careful. But obviously, she didn't think I needed to be in the hospital. But sometimes you run a little high energy, and I had gone to. It was always strange going back to Harrisonburg after Kent died, but I was visiting my mom, and I decided to go by the services board because I had some suggestions, and I went up to tell them, and I waited and I talked to the head of it. And they started looking at me weird, and I was like, I'm out of here. And so I went to the food stamps. I don't know. Maybe I was in transition of maybe moving. And the police showed up, and I was talking to a little Hispanic girl, and they were petting my dogs. And the police were going to take me, and I got out my phone, and I was like, I want to take pictures of this. It's crazy. And they put me in handcuffs and took my dogs away from me, which you're not supposed to do. And I bless that police. I think she was almost crying. I can be abusive too. And so I blessed her out. And they decided to lock me up. And so I spent 4 days in isolation. There were 2 rooms, and the blinds were down. I had no contact with any humans, and they isolated me, and they watched me. And I mean, on a scale from 0 to 100, I was about a 70, manic. I wasn't delusional, and I was taking my medicine, so I was sleeping some at night. But the isolation, I would go and I would play bongo drums on the glass because I mean there was no TV, there was just a bed, nothing to do. I mean, and I'm not one for watching TV anyway. I like to talk to the other patients, but there were no other patients. There's one guy that came in, and he wanted me to come in his room, and I was like, no, I mean, nymphomaniac is not my problem. I'm a lot smarter than people give me credit for. I guess I look like a retard, but I mean, I've been through quite a bit, and it's not that I don't read. I mean, it's like, do you really think I'm so stupid? I mean, but you can't do anything if they decided to put you in handcuffs and take you away. And I even get fearful of that now. I'm like, is someone going to come and decide that I have to go in the hospital? They'll do it. They'll just like take you and put you away. And the mistreatment is rampant. You'll get Thorazine because they want to, not because you need it. I mean, sometimes you need a little isolate. You might need to go to a room and calm down, but you don't necessarily need that measure of that kind of abuse. And I compare it to a third grade or 3-year-old. If your chemicals are off and you're not acting very nice, you might need to go for a walk. You might need to be in a facility where you can get out and move around and not have that fight or flight. So I guess after 3, I was still pounding on the window. I mean, I wasn't breaking it, but I was. And they said, if you stop that, we'll let you out into the TV room. I said, what that kind of behavior? What idiocy. You know, every once in a while, I really, really take a big shit on people, and I'm like, you can't read the books I read. You can't. You can try, but you can't touch it. It's just like, existentialism is about as far as they can get. But it's really weird to be a really good reader, and a lot of times you're not recognized because people can't read it. You're just like, woo. It's kind of funny. Kent one time really surprised me. He was reading like this Stephen King book. I was like, you speak like 5 languages. Why would you read I was always trying to read something difficult to try to improve myself, and I was like, it was like, what the hell? You're not challenging yourself. He was just enjoying a Stephen King book. But anyway, yeah. So the isolation. They had built a new facility, and they showed us all around. We couldn't smoke. I'm like, if I'm 21 and I'm in a psych hospital, I mean, you have to stay in for a while. That's ridiculosity. It really is. It's stupid. So, and it hurts mentally ill people more than you might imagine because of the stress and all the stuff they're going through. And I did tell the people, I said, this is awful. They came down in their suits and ties, and I said, you can't treat people. You can build a new facility. I know. I said, could I have a cup of hot tea? And they couldn't do it. They said, well, no, we can't do that. We'll give you some on your tray. And I'm like, they said, well, sometimes the patients throw it on us. And I'm like, that's because of the way you treat the patients. I went to MCV, and they don't have a facility that is built to house people with chemical imbalances in the brain that are struggling, and to get better or make them better. So you have an economy that's conditioning itself to be worse and worse because people keep getting sick and they keep going in and they don't get better because they're not in a hospital. They're in a holding cell. It's just a holding cell, and the facility is not built. I mean, I've been to nice hospitals where, it was beautiful, it was private, and you could get out and walk the grounds and stuff like that. So I know, and they let us make art there, and we had art therapy. So I know the crappy, shitty state hospitals and like MCV and stuff like that. And they say you get art. It's not art therapy. It's stressful. They have a certain protocol how they want you to do these crafts. And if you don't do it correctly, then you can't do it. I mean, it's crazy. But at MCV, like there was this one nurse. He's like, this is just what I'm supposed to do. He was so good, really good. Reminded me of the lead singer, Neil Flynn from Crowded House. I actually fell in love with him. I was like, oh my God, you're so wonderful. He's married. And he said, because, this is just my calling. So you need more people like that, it was really funny because the girl came in and she's married to a lawyer, and he would come and visit her. I don't have many people in my family that visit me, only really my daughter, my mom before she died. I don't know. My sister's got some hang-ups. I grew up in a fucked up family, and she never really got help. And now she's guiding Hillary, and she's like, well, she doesn't act right. Don't talk to her. That'll teach her. And that's not what you do with sick people. You try to support them. Um, so yeah, we need that in public schools to teach people how to have a less mentally ill society. I mean, I'm pretty sure in the DSM, Trump's got some problems with money, security, narcissism, just things that our president had that the whole country's got, that they're following this idiocracy. Idiocracy, that's a new form of government well, let's give him an island. Not Johnny Depp's. Johnny wants to go be king of his own island. Let's get Trump an island where he can be idiocracy with Donald Trump. We'll do little telltale like things that he wants to do, the gremlins and things like that come and visit him. But yeah, obviously if your chemicals aren't good, you're going to have behaviors that are unacceptable. Whether that's getting in bed and staying in bed and wanting to kill yourself, or